steering column you can see here. Okay, and there is a worm. This is the worm. Okay, so this portion you can see. So this is the worm gear. Whatever you can see over here. So this is entirely the worm gear. Okay, so when the steering is rotated, what happens is this worm rotates. Okay, when it rotates, these balls are recirculated. So they move out, okay, and come and this recirculate back. So that when these balls are recirculated, whatever the worm gear you can, the nut you can see, this is the nut part. Okay, so this moves left and right based on the rotation anti-clock or clockwise you give to the steering. Because of the recirculation of balls, this nut moves front and back. When this nut moves front and back, you can see a sector gear is attached here. So this moves to and fro in this way. Okay, so this moves left and right. Okay, so this is in turn connected to the wheels via an arm. We call it as pitman arm. Okay, so that the wheels will proportionately move. Okay, so this is the principle of working. Why it is called as recirculating ball type? So whenever the rack moves with the steering, this is directly connected to the steering. So whenever the rack moves, this balls recirculate. Because of the recirculation, that is movement of the balls to and fro, this nut will operate. This nut in turn is connected to the sector. Okay, sector will operate the arm, which in turn gives the rotation to the wheel. So this is regarding the working of recirculating ball type steering gear. Right, so you can just make it out. Same thing I have explained here. It is simple. If you draw a neat sketch and try to understand, it will be very simple. Please take down. Okay, so we'll move to the next. We have completed recirculating ball type steering gear. Next is the worm and nut steering gear. Just take down the sketch. I have downloaded a video from which we can understand the working easily. Okay, so as usual, there is a nut. Sorry, there is a worm. Similar to the previous case, there is a worm gear. You can see here. This is the worm. This is connected to the steering wheel straight away. Okay. Next, there is a nut. As you rotate this nut moves front and back. Okay, this nut is connected to a drop arm. This drop arm in turn will be connected to the wheels. So with the help of video, we can clearly understand the working of this. Just take down this. Is it done? Yes, is it complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just you watch this video. See that this is the worm gear, this is the nut. So this is the worm and this is the nut. Okay, that is connected in turn to this lever so that this operates. When you turn the this is the drop arm. Okay, you can see the components also. This drop arm in turn will operate the wheel with the help of linkages. So this is the casing, this is the worm. Okay, so this is the worm, this is the nut. Okay, nut is in turn connected to the drop arm. Here there will be linkages through which it operates the wheels. So as the steering wheel is rotated, this nut also moves front and back so that the drop arm also suitably gets operated. Okay. So here you can see this is the casing whatever we discussed now. This is connected to the steering wheel, this is the nut and this is the drop arm. Here there will be linkages to connect to the wheels. So as you move it, this nut moves front and back so that the drop arm operates. So this is the principle of worm and nut steering gear. Please take down. Please take down. Is it done?
Sir.
Okay. Next, the last one, worm and nut. 1 second. We have completed worm and net. Rack and pinion. So rack and pinion you have studied in kinematics of machine. It's a simple mechanism. Okay. So a rack and pinion mechanism will operate the steering system. So most of the cars, it takes complete 3 to 4 revolutions to take a complete turn in the olden days. So the pinion is attached to the steering. Okay. And the rack will operate the wheels. Okay. So rack and pinion gear set is enclosed in a metal tube in a casing. Okay. A tie rod is connected. Tie rod we have seen already in many examples, which will be directly added to the wheel system. So this is a simple mechanism. So we will move to the next. Better you take down this rack and pinion. So from any COM textbook, I'll leave it as assignment to you. You can just take down a rack and pinion gear set, direct gear mechanism. It's one of the oldest mechanism. So these are different types of steering gearboxes. We'll move to the power steering. So power steering systems have become more and more widely used in the last few years. I believe that almost the most basic vehicles will also have power steering these days. So earlier days, the power steering mechanism was confined to only high-end cars, but these days, the driver comfort is one of the major priority. So almost every vehicle has a power steering mechanism. Okay. Manual steering systems are used as a basis for power steering. So it is just an advancement of manual steering. Definitely the manual steering components will be there. There will be certain other electrical components like pumps, which will which will magnify the effort of the driver, and it will easily rotate the wheels. Okay. So with the advantage that mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the wheel, okay, continues to be maintained with or without the help of auxiliary power. If you use certain power, auxiliary power, to connect the steering to the wheels, then it is called as power steering. If you use just the linkages instead of power, it is called as the manual steering. I repeat once again, the major difference between the power steering and the manual steering is between the linkages, okay, mechanical linkages of wheel and the steering. If you use an auxiliary power, okay, like a pump, okay, or a booster pump, okay, then we call it as power steering. If that auxiliary power is not used and only there are mechanical linkages between the steering wheel and the wheel, then it is called as a manual steering. Okay, so the steering boost is thereby reduced with the aim of achieving better road contact. The method of using oil under pressure to boost, okay, the servo braking we have studied, oil under pressure will be used. Okay. It will have advantages of cost, space, lesser space required, lesser weight, etc. This pump can be driven by the engine and constantly generates hydraulic power. So the next question arises here is, from where that, as we discussed, auxiliary power, from where do we get? We get it from the engine straight away. There will be a pump used, okay, which pressurizes the liquid based on the amount of steering you give. Okay, that pump will be again driven by the engine itself. Okay, depending on the driving assembly and pump design, okay, there will be a small additional consumption of fuel. It can lie between 0.7 and 0.5 liters, sorry, 0.2 liters per every 100 kilometers. It is almost a smaller component. Definitely, some sort of power will be required. That power has to come from the engine only. There is no other go. We don't have any other sources. So a small, very negligible amount of drop in mileage can be seen when the power steering is used. Okay. Make a note of it. Then we have to discuss about the hydraulic power steering and its working mechanism. Please take down this so that we can start with it. Okay. So classification of steering, usually the steering system is classified as manual steering and power steering. As I told you, in power steering, the basic components of whatever manual steering is there, that will be definitely used. So in manual steering, again, there are four types: rack and pinion, worm and roller, nut and recirculating ball. Okay, so that again, power steering we have hydraulic and electrical. Okay, the most used ones are listed in this chart. Okay, in under hydraulic, same again, rack and pinion, worm and roller, again nut and recirculating ball. Whatever we have discussed, all these mechanisms, and hydrostatic. So these are the mechanisms. In electrical, usually rack and pinion will be used. Okay, and there will be some electrical sources to drive it. Okay, electronic power steering we call it as EPS. So it may be column driven, pinion driven, or rack driven. There are three types. Okay, so don't worry, we do not go in detail of this. Just the classification we need. Only we have to discuss about the hydraulic power steering. That's all. The most basic power steering mechanism we will be discussing as per our syllabus. You can take down this chart. Okay. So what are the benefits of power steering? Why this is required? Of course, if you have driven a manual steering car and a power steering, definitely you would be able to point out these things. One is effortless steering. That too, especially when the vehicle is stopped, if you want to suddenly rotate the steering, it will be a very tough task in manual steering. Okay. When the vehicle is moving, as the speed increases, it doesn't matter. Even manual steering, you can operate easily. But when the vehicle is at lower speeds and when it is stationary, the steering requires a lot of effort. Okay, in power steering, whether the vehicle is stationary, moving at low or higher speed, very much lower efforts are required. It has a quick and precise response. It absorbs the road shocks also. Okay, and it furnishes controllability and greater safety under critical situations. Okay, so it will not allow the steering to lock under critical situations. So these are some of the benefits of power steering. Okay. So before moving further, we have to first note down about what are the different components in power steering. One is the power steering pump and the power cylinder. So these are the two important. Next, one oil reservoir should be there. Hydraulic lines and hoses, pipes to connect. To filter the oil, we need filters. When the excess pressure is built up, we need some relief valves. Okay, and control valves to operate the mechanism. See, these components are in addition to the mechanical components like a gearbox, okay, and tie rods, connecting rods, whatever we use. In addition to that, we need these extra components to convert it into a power steering. Okay, so once again, I repeat, a pump and a cylinder arrangement. Okay, usually a double side pump will be used, and this pump is driven by the engine, as we discussed. One oil reservoir, okay, and connecting hoses or pipes, filter to filter the oil, and there are certain relief valves to relieve the excess pressure built, and the control valve. So these are the different components in a power steering. you can take down a rough sketch of this part. Okay, how it works we will discuss. This part would be okay. So as we saw, these are the mechanical components as usual. For example, we take it as a rack and pinion mechanism. So these mechanical components are there as usual. Okay. And as I told you, in hydraulic, a pump is required, okay, and a cylinder arrangement. Okay, double acting cylinder. These are the hoses or pipes which connects to the cylinder. A storage tank is also required. In the other view I have shown a fluid reservoir. So this is the regular day-old rack and pinion mechanism. To this, a pump and the fluid reservoir are required in excess. Please take down, I will explain. Okay. Is it done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here, usually in hydraulic system, a pump will be used, usually a vane pump. Okay, we call it as vane pump. If you have studied hydraulic subject description, anyway, we are not into the complete working of this vane pump. Okay, so as you rotate the wheel, proportionately this pump will operate the suitable quantity of hydraulic fluid onto the right side. For example, you are rotating it to the right side, steering to the right side, you want the vehicle to move to the right side, then from this hose the pressurized fluid will be driven, so that the pressure will increase on this end. So when it moves, the wheel rotates. That a small amount of turn you give to the steering wheel, a suitable quantity of fluid will be pressurized into this right place. Okay, so this is how an hydraulic system works. Okay, so hydraulic power steering works by using a hydraulic system to multiply the force. What it does, how much ever you turn the steering, suitable quantity of pressurized fluid will be pumped, so that a small effort will be magnified many times. Usually a rotary vane pump will be used. A double acting type, because it can move either left or right. Obviously we have to use a double acting type. The steering wheel operates valves to control the cylinder. So how does this work? When you turn the steering, it operates the valves Okay, the valves whenever opened to the right valve, it pumps the fluid onto the right side. Okay, the more torque the driver applies to the steering wheel, the opening of the valve will be more fluid flows, and the turning will be more. As simple as that. If you operate a steering wheel a little bit, okay, only small portion of the valve will be open, as lesser amount of fluid flows, and the turning will be less. So it will be a proportional. Okay, a booster mechanism will be it is a safety mechanism which is added suddenly due to some reason. Okay, if the power steering fails, if the pump fails, okay, so because of this booster mechanism, the steering mechanism will convert into a manual one. Definitely it will be heavy. Okay, steering will be heavy, but still you can drive the vehicle and you can operate the vehicle. Okay, loss of power steering can significantly affect the handling of vehicle. Okay, depending on the vehicle, type of vehicle, in the manual it will be proper instructions will be given for regular maintenance. Okay, so usually this booster mechanism is an additional arrangement, so in case if it fails, you can operate it manually. Okay, so the working fluid will be usually a mineral oil. Okay, wherein the pressure should be transmitted from the pump to the wheels, that's all. Okay, some modern systems also include an electronic controlled valves. Okay, so this you can see through most of the modern vehicles. The valves are not straight away controlled by the steering. It is electronically controlled. It varies with respect to speed. At very high speeds, the sensitivity of power steering comes down so that the stability of the vehicle will be more. Okay. So the electronic control valves can also be used.